Water is the foundation of life, and rivers are its lifelines. They carve through landscapes, sustain ecosystems, and provide for the communities that rely on them. For centuries, rivers have shaped human civilization, offering resources, transportation, and cultural significance. But today, these vital waterways are changing. Climate change, urban expansion, and industrial development are altering their flow, threatening ecosystems and challenging the people who depend on them. How do those who live near these rivers perceive these dangers? What does the future hold for them? In this documentary, we explore these questions by listening to the voices of individuals who have deep connections to their local rivers. In our first episode, we travelled to 3 countries, the UK, Japan and Malaysia, where rivers play an essential role in people's lives. In the UK, we visit the River Cam in Cambridge, a river rich in history where students gather along its banks. But what challenges will it face in the next 50 years?
The biggest challenges when I think about it for the River Cam are spiritual challenges and the ways that we engage with the river and find its spirit. And can we keep those ways of engagement alive and accessible to as many people as possible? Especially the Cam with its rowing and its history of rowing. Hundreds of students every day wake up early with the sunrise and the sunset as well. They spend it with the river. And then the rugged end of the city in Grantchester, where you can dive into its cold waters and jump from trees and engage in those rituals of the River Cam. A challenge, I think, is can we keep that spirit alive and can we pass that spirit on with us and with future generations and keep it accessible to as many people as possible. And then as well, can we recognise and see the spirit of the river in its own right beyond us and beyond its uses and beyond its material, transactional uses to us and its threats to us? Can we let the river be? Can it just be in its own right? And that is not a challenge for the river, that's a challenge for us. Can we let the river be?
The people of Cambridge have always had a rich connection with the River Cam. The Art of Swimming, the original manifesto for swimming, was in fact published in Cambridge in 1587. For me, I think that swimming plays a really pivotal role in the relationship between the people and the river, particularly around Sheep's Green. However, recently, industrial waste and pollution has posed a real problem to the quality of the river in this area. Particularly the 2 biggest sources of pollution, caffeine and paracetamol, have been found in the water. I, as a student, would love to be able to swim in the river and for it to be a space where everyone can enjoy and relax in the summer months. But I think that the increase of development, in particular with labs and data centres and houses being built in Cambridge, poses a massive risk of industrial waste filtering into the water and rendering it impossible to swim in. I think this would be a travesty for the people of Cambridge.
I think the biggest challenge that the Cam's going to face in the next 50 years, more than anything, is people getting sick of it. I'm worried that with the long history of the Cam as a very sort of flood prone river in the age of climate change, that people are just going to see it as a nuisance more than anything else. Because back in the day, people couldn't control rivers in the way they can now. And the way that far-right politics are becoming increasingly brutal and increasingly technocratic, I guess I'm worried that people are going to try and stymie the river instead of finding ways to let it grow. With this age of transition and change, they'll try and find ways of killing it and diverting it away, which is quite a scary thought, but neither inevitable nor necessary. So the real challenge is finding innovative ways of making it live, I would say.
In Japan, we explore the Arakawa River, which has battled floods for centuries. Volunteers have dedicated their time to preserving the river for future generations. How do they see its future?
今若い人が減ってきちゃったんで、若い人にやっぱりこういう活動に入ってきてもらいたいというのが一番ですね。みんなやっぱり高齢化しちゃって、体がなかなか動かない。こういう川で泳げるぐらいになったらいいなっていうのは、昭和30年ぐらいかな、小学校入った時に荒川が泳げなくなった水質が悪くなって、泳いで危ない、危ないっていうか、そういう危険で、遊泳禁止になったんですね。兄たちは荒川で泳いで育ったという時代だったんですね。やっぱり、プールで泳ぐのもいいけど、こういう水で、危なくないところだったら、そういう自然環境の中で、水遊びなりができるようになればいいなと思ってますね。
行政だけではうまくいかないところ。むしろ行政だけだと今まで続いてこなかったなっていうふうに思ってます。こうやってお仕事しながらも休日出てきていただいたり、中には平日のなかなかその高齢化もあるので、ぜひ若い皆さんに興味持っていただいて、水辺の活動に参加してもらって、それきっかけに継続して参加いただくことで、なんていうか今後10年先も今のような体制がずっと維持できるといいなと思ってます。
活動のあり方もですね、皆さんと話し合ったり、していきながら、どういうふうな子どもの水辺にしていけばいいのか、模索して、ずっとこういう場があれば、本当に子どもたちがどんどん自然から離れていく生活にならないで、もっと自然を身近に感じる、パーソナリティになっていくかなと期待しております。川の水質自体は大変良くなってる、清らかな川になりつつあるっていうのは水質のデータなどを見たらよくわかります。やはり気候のせいか、やはり外来植物が増えてきたり、それがもう防御できないぐらいにどんどん増えて、手入れが間に合わなかったり、人々の生活が便利になっていけば、そういう現象も起きてくる。江戸時代とかだったら起きなかったかもしれないです。
In Malaysia, we follow the Klang River, an important yet vulnerable waterway running through Kuala Lumpur. With heavy rains and rising water levels, how can young environmentalists protect this river?
So in Malaysia, we have quite a lot of plans in making the river a lot cleaner. However, the biggest challenge is that there is less awareness amongst the citizens. There's no point in cleaning the river all the time when the tap is not closed. There's still trash going in no matter what. And I guess one of the biggest cause of that is that we lack of facilities and education on the importance of the cleanliness of rivers. Some don't even know that there are rivers right behind their neighborhood. Instead, they would think of them as like huge drains instead. I'm hopeful that in the future the river would be a lot cleaner. However, I wouldn't expect it to be clear. Again, like I said, because we still have a long way to go when it comes to creating awareness amongst the people, and it would be very difficult to stop the trash from coming in. But with the efforts that we are doing now to clean the rivers, and also the research that we have been doing amongst a lot of stakeholders, I believe that the rivers will improve in terms of their quality. However, I wouldn't say that it would be completely clean for recreational activities.
I think the first thing is keeping a clean rivers clean. or stay unpolluted. I think that's the biggest challenge. If you can see now, even the cleanest rivers are being pressured into developing or change the demand of ecotourism. Something like that. So I think in the 50 within the 50 years, you can see there's a lot how are we going to keep these pristine, clean rivers, and at the same time, and how these polluted rivers are, is it become worse or is it become better? So that's one of the challenges. And another challenge is the concept of near water and far water. People nowadays get their water is far away from their rivers, and even though some of them live in the near water areas, they didn't have the ownership or didn't have the feelings that the rivers are theirs. So you can see now even their own rivers, they didn't know the nearest rivers in their community or in their house. So in 50 years, are they still recognize it's a river or is it a drain?
I think personally, Malaysia will face several issues such as rapid urbanization, pollution, also maybe issues or climate change issues, just like flooding, drought, which are so intense moving forward. I think that's some of the issue lah. For instance, we might have issue with pollution, where as you can see, at the back of the area, there is few plastic bottles in the water, and I think discharge from the commercial area and also the residential area, which I think in the future, maybe in next 50 years, if we still continue to do this, it will make the river more polluted, and of course, more cost will be needed to not to filter our water, but to clean our water, because water is not really come from your tap. It's from one of the source is the river lah. I think in the future we need to really update the sustainable river management, such as integrated river basin management for the river, because this is not only for us, also for the future generation.
Each of these rivers tells a different story, yet they all face similar challenges. Through the voices of those who live by them, we seek to understand what must be done to protect these essential waterways. The voices we've heard from Cambridge, Tokyo and Kuala Lumpur remind us that these rivers are more than just scenery. They are part of people's lives. So, what can we do? We can listen to the communities that know these rivers best. We can support efforts to restore and protect them. We can take action in our own lives, no matter how small, to ensure these rivers continue to flow for generations to come. The future of these rivers, and countless others, depends on the choices we make today. By working together, we can ensure they remain sources of life, beauty, and connection.